The cafeteria of Hartwell Enterprises towered as high as its glass walls. Sleek marble floors gleamed under the afternoon sunlight, and the steady hum of conversations blended with the metallic clatter of trays and cutlery. Most people here wore pressed suits and carried themselves with the hurried importance of executives chasing the next deadline. At a quiet table near the window sat Ethan Hartwell, the company's young CEO, a man with sharp features and an aura that made even senior managers tread carefully. His lunch, a perfectly balanced meal prepared by the in-house chef, sat untouched for now. His phone buzzed with constant notifications, but for once, his focus wasn't on the glowing screen. Across from him sat his daughter, Lily. At 6 years old, her presence in the cafeteria was a rarity, but Ethan had promised her a special day at Daddy's office. Her legs dangled from the chair, sneakers kicking rhythmically in the air, while her small hands carefully picked at her fries. She was sunshine in a world of gray pinstripes and formal handshakes. But suddenly, Lily stopped chewing. Her gaze drifted toward the vending machine tucked against the far wall. Ethan followed her line of sight and saw what had caught her attention. A young woman, hair pulled back hastily, clothes simple but neat, staring at the price list above the machine with a pained hesitation. One hand clutched her worn wallet, the other rested against her stomach, as if holding in the ache of hunger. "Daddy!" Lily's small fingers tugged urgently at his sleeve. Her voice was softer than usual, almost worried. "She looks hungry. Can I share my food for her?" Ethan blinked, caught between the hard-edged world he ruled and the childlike compassion glowing in his daughter's eyes. Ethan hesitated for a moment, his instinct pulling him two ways. Years of running a corporation had taught him to analyze situations, to weigh consequences before acting. But Lily was already scooting her chair back, her little hands carefully balancing the tray of fries and nuggets as if it were a treasure chest. "Lily, wait," he said softly, half rising from his seat. But she was determined. Her sneakers squeaked against the polished floor as she marched toward the vending machine, tray wobbling precariously. The woman, still staring at the flashing prices, startled at the sound of Lily's footsteps. She turned, her tired eyes widening as she saw the small girl holding out food with both hands. "Excuse me," Lily said with a politeness that seemed too big for her tiny voice. "You can have some of mine. Daddy bought me too much." She nudged the tray forward, fries nearly tumbling off the edge. The woman's throat bobbed as she swallowed, caught between gratitude and pride. "Oh, sweetheart, that's very kind, but I can't take your lunch." Lily's brows furrowed in stubbornness, the same expression Ethan had seen when she refused to go to bed without her bedtime story. "Yes, you can," she insisted. "Hungry tummies hurt. My teacher says we should always share." Ethan finally reached them, his tall frame towering behind his daughter. The woman's gaze shifted to him, nerves flickering across her face as if she had stepped somewhere she didn't belong. "It's really no trouble," Ethan said, his voice surprisingly gentle, the sharpness of his usual tone softened. He gestured toward their table. "Please, join us." The woman hesitated, glancing around as if unsure whether she was allowed to sit at a table that belonged to the world of sharp suits and whispered deals. But Lily's hopeful eyes and Ethan's steady nod left her little choice. Slowly, she lowered herself into the chair opposite them, her fingers trembling as she set the tray down. Lily immediately pushed the fries closer. "You can have the first bite," she declared proudly, as though this were an important rule of hospitality. A small, wavering smile broke across the woman's face. She picked up a fry, holding it delicately, almost reverently, before tasting it. The simple act of eating seemed to loosen something inside her. Her shoulders eased, and color returned faintly to her cheeks. "My name's Clara," she said quietly, voice rough around the edges. I used to work as a receptionist, but the company closed. Been looking ever since." She looked down, embarrassed. "Rent's due. Groceries. Well, sometimes it's a choice between one or the other." Ethan listened, the hard shell of the executive giving way to something softer. He studied the woman across from him, not as another resume or statistic, but as a person. He noticed the faint calluses on her hands, the way she straightened her posture even in worn clothes, her pride refusing to crumble completely. Meanwhile, Lily chatted easily, filling in every silence. "Do you like fries? Daddy says I eat too many. Do you have a pet?" I'm gonna be a fairy in my school play, maybe you can come see me." Clara's eyes shimmered. She laughed softly, the sound fragile but genuine. For the first time in a long while, she felt like more than a problem to be solved. She felt seen. When the last fry was eaten and Lily's juice box sat empty, Clara rose from her seat with a hesitance that spoke volumes. Her fingers twisted around the strap of her worn handbag, as though preparing herself to step back into the uncertain world she had come from. "Thank you," she said, her voice breaking slightly. "For the food, for letting me sit here. You don't know how much it means. I wish I could repay you somehow." Ethan leaned back, studying her with a steadiness that made her fidget. In his world, favors were transactions, every act measured in returns. But this moment was different. His daughter's simple compassion had opened his eyes. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a sleek business card, and held it out to her. "You already have," he said quietly. "But if you really want to repay me, come by my office tomorrow. I hear there's a receptionist position open." Clara froze. Her breath caught, and her eyes widened as though she wasn't sure if he was serious. What? Really? Really?" Ethan confirmed. His tone carried the certainty of a man used to being obeyed, yet softened now by something warmer. "I think you'd fit in here. You've got determination in your eyes. That's worth more than a line on a resume." Tears pricked Clara's lashes, but she blinked them back, clutching the card as if it were a lifeline. "Thank you, truly. I won't waste the chance." As she walked away, shoulders straighter than when she'd entered, Lily tugged on Ethan's hand. "Daddy, did we help her?" Ethan looked down at his daughter, a rare smile breaking across his usually composed face. He kissed her forehead gently. "Yes, sweetheart, more than we'll ever know."